welcome to the I'm You podcast. So first, let me apologize for the audio quality. I just replaced all my phones, and believe it or not, they all have different connections now. So none of my microphones and other equipment will connect to my phone for video. So I'm having to use a Bluetooth microphone that I normally use for my phone call. Anyway, the Democrat Party right now is in the wilderness, literally. Recently, they were all at a retreat in the Virginia woods to supposedly discuss tactics and what they need to stand for. It made me think, well, Democrats, what do you stand for? Do you really stand for fighting climate change? No, because Elon Musk was the green messiah 3 years ago, but the minute he started to support Trump, you ditched all of your environmentalist BS and started torching Teslas, the very electric cars you were trying to force us to buy about 5 minutes ago, and insulting innocent Tesla owners all over the country. And almost none of your elected Democrat representatives in Washington will actually denounce the violence. Why is that? Also, you stole all the money from the Green New scam. You gave your friends $8 billion to build 50,000 EV charging stations and only built 9 in 4 years. Where's the rest of that money? Oh, and that's not even the best one. Joe Biden's $42 billion broadband project to connect rural America. You know how many homes have been connected or businesses? 0. Yeah, 4 years, $42 billion, and not a single house has been connected to broadband. Where's that money? Do you stand for women? No. Every Democrat senator and almost every Democrat congressperson voted to keep men in women's sports, including in their locker rooms, actually advocating for boys to change in front of little girls and young women fully nude in the girls' locker room. By the way, 80% of the country doesn't want men in women's sports. Democrat women had the gall to wear pink, which supposedly means you stand for women, at the joint session of Congress speech that Donald Trump made. 1 day after all of them voted to keep men in women's sports, including their locker room. Now they're flying 3,000 miles to El Salvador to try to bring back a gangbanger who beats his wife. Also, not a single Democrat senator or congressperson has called or visited any of the angel moms who actually lost their children to violent illegal immigrants. Even those moms who are actually in their own state, but they can fly 3,000 miles to advocate for a criminal. Do you stand for the children? No. You took them out of school and kept them out for 2 years longer than they needed to be out and destroyed their education. Many will never catch up. And even worse, you paid off the teachers' unions to let them actually make policy about kids in school. So, of course, they picked not working. And how are the Democrats trying to make up for their horrendous attack on our child's education? Well, Oregon just became the newest state to completely eliminate reading, writing, and math skills to qualify for high school graduation. And people wonder why major universities, including Harvard, by the way, are now having to offer remedial reading and math classes to their freshmen. As if that wasn't bad enough, you allowed hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, of children to be trafficked into the United States for sex or work slavery. You actually lost 300,000 children, and Joe Biden and your Democrat representatives made zero effort whatsoever to find them. Who knows what these poor kids are undergoing right now? Do you stand for health? Obviously not. Just look at you. Do you stand for public safety? No. You fight for criminals to be released into the public. I am constantly hearing about this rule of law that you also deeply respect. At the same time, you're refusing to actually comply with federal immigration law. Actually going as far as releasing violent, illegal immigrant criminals onto your own streets rather than to call ICE and have them removed from our country. If that's not bad enough, multiple Democrat mayors and governors are actually suing the Trump administration. You know why? to keep illegal immigrant murderers, rapists, and child molesters in their cities or states. Some liberal judges are even trying to force the Trump administration to actually bring terrorists and illegal immigrant murderers back into the United States that we finally got rid of. Well, do you stand for the middle class? No. You foisted Bidenomics on the country and cost of living soared, crushing the middle class. You're actively campaigning now to deny the middle class an extension of the Trump tax cut, which would actually result in the largest tax increase in American history for the middle class. Let's see, you stand for fighting terrorism. Right now, you and your liberal friends are fighting to keep an immigrant Hamas spokesman in our country who is leading violent protests for the terrorist group. You're calling Netanyahu a war criminal for retaliating for 1,400 brutal murders of innocent Jews by Hamas. If you can believe it, a group of Democrat senators and congresspeople actually went to El Salvador to try to force the return of an illegal immigrant MS-13 gang member, wife beater, human trafficker, terrorist back to the United States. Where were all these guys going to Russia or Venezuela to try and get our actual American citizen hostages back that Biden left hanging for 4 years and Trump managed to do it in about 3 weeks? I'll tell you where they were. Nowhere. They don't care about American citizens, just illegal immigrant criminals. We didn't even know about some of the hostages being held in Venezuela until Trump showed up. Let's see, you stand for the American worker? No. You're okay with our factories going to China, Canada, Mexico, and you've done nothing about it the last 4 years. Do you stand for border security? Okay. You lied to the country for 4 years about the border and let in 12 million, maybe even more, illegal immigrants, regardless of their criminal history. You actually let in 100 people on the terrorist watch list and released them into the country. Now we're even finding out that Joe Biden lied about 100,000 illegal immigrant arrests. He didn't arrest them. He actually released every one of them into the country. Again, 80+% of the country wants all illegal immigrant criminals deported immediately. 66% want all illegal immigrants deported, whether they're criminals or not. That means a lot of Democrats. The reality is that Democrats don't stand for anything. They don't even stand for a 13-year-old boy with brain cancer or a mother whose daughter was murdered by one of their criminal illegal immigrants just because President Trump wanted to acknowledge it. That's sick. The Democrats' only plan is to oppose anything Donald Trump wants, even if they were for it about 5 minutes ago. If Trump wanted to build a massive wind or solar farm, or personally saved a whale himself, the Democrats would be against it. If Trump signed a bill rescuing all cats from euthanasia, the Democrats would be out clubbing cats to death the next day. Here's a good example.
We cannot keep our promises on Medicare. We simply must make the cuts in waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare so that the benefits and the premiums are untouched. We owe it to our seniors. We owe it to our country.
If what Senator Coburn says, that 1/3 of Medicare doesn't go to patient care, you can't just get up there and say, we don't want to cut anything out of Medicare. We want to cut the bad stuff and keep the good stuff.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. Paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. No amount of waste is acceptable, not when it's your money.
Now that Trump is actually getting rid of waste and fraud, here's their new stance.
You can't spell felon without Elon.
Trump and Musk like to say, we're reading out fraud, waste, and abuse. We're looking at efficiency. That's a dog whistle.
Elon Musk ripped up the Constitution and our system of checks and balances.
The Trump administration and unelected billionaire Elon Musk have led a reckless and illegal attack on USAID.
9 million veterans are watching you give them the middle finger, and we're not going to stand for it.
This is only one of the many hypocritical views of the Democrat Party. I could go on literally for hours, but I won't torture you. They've learned nothing from the election. It's really weird. They've already started back with Russia collusion, Trump is Hitler, and his supporters are white supremacists, doubling down on everything that lost them the 2024 election. They are letting the far left take over colleges and universities by force and burning down Tesla dealerships. Torching the very cars, by the way, that they were trying to force us to buy about 5 minutes ago, because they don't like Elon supporting Trump. The root of the problem is that Democrats have no principles at all. Their principles are decided on a daily basis based on what Trump is doing. All they stand for is hate, racism, anti-Semitism, death threats, and violence. All of the things, again, that lost them the last election. Now they've decided to double down. But you know what? I'm all in for it. Just keep it up, Dems, and you will never win the presidency again.